Welcome to this episode of the Willingdon on Mission podcast. My name is John. I'm one of the pastors at Willingdon, and this is the third episode of a 4-episode series with Johann, who is our missionary of the month for June of 2024. Welcome, Johann.
Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you. The last 2 episodes we talked about Ukraine. So if those of you who are watching and listening, if you did not catch those, I would encourage you to go back and catch those 2 episodes about Ukraine because Johann was just there. But Johann's ministry spans quite a bit more broadly than only Ukraine, and he's based in Germany. He oversees lots of things in Europe and Central Asia. And today, what we're going to talk about is church planting in Germany specifically. Now, I've had the opportunity to be in Germany with Johann. This was a number of years ago, but we visited and stopped and prayed in a particular city called Dortmund. But beyond that, actually, Johann invited me and challenged me. You might not even remember this, Johann, but to pray daily that the Lord would raise up workers for the city of Dortmund. And so I had the opportunity, I grabbed the opportunity to pray daily that the Lord would raise up workers. And we prayed it for a year or 2 or 3 for quite a long time. Could you give us a glimpse of church planting efforts in Germany, and maybe actually preface it though, Johann, with what's the state of the church in Germany, like just a little bit more broadly, and why would church planting be important?
I will surprise you by going to Poland first
Okay.
and saying there was Poland, which was Eastern Prussia, Western Prussia. The name of the territory changed, but on today's Poland, we have hundreds of years of Mennonite history. It was a land that received refugees mostly from the Netherlands and northern Germany who were persecuted. And they got their livelihoods going in Poland, and most of the Mennonites had to leave Poland at the end of Second World War. And this is why I'm mentioning it right now. When the German-speaking churches phase in Poland was over, it turned out that in all of those centuries, they didn't plant one church for the Polish population. Simply, there was not one Polish church left behind. And again, I will not condemn it. I also know about the limitations and the tensions and between the populations. But at least when we're talking about Poland, it should be more than just historical interest. We should think of the people of Poland, needing the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so I invite you again, John, and everyone who listens, to pray for Poland. And if God brings people to your attention, places, or just pray for our team as we discern Poland. So when we now move to Germany, it's similar. We have Mennonite Brethren associations here, churches. And the question is, can we only plant churches for ourselves, like a multi-campus a church, or a daughter church, which is like same DNA, same people? Or can we actually plant churches that would look like the places in which we plant them? And the city of Dortmund was particularly needy. Research showed at the time that for over 24,000 people, there's just one evangelical fellowship. So that marks the need, and also Dortmund is very poor, but good soccer is being played there, and I know when this is broadcast, the Champions League final will be history, and a Dortmund team plays Real Madrid this week when we're recording, and that means the 2 best clubs in the world are meeting right now. So there's something to be said about Dortmund. But now back to the church that we prayed for. God has provided a Canadian couple, Alex and Carla Zuderman, with their 4 children, and then 2 German families, a single from Paraguay and a single from Germany as well. And so a team of 8 started a church and they called it Präsentkirche. And the German word present means to be present in English, God's presence, and his church present in the city. And the Evangelical Alliance of Dortmund pointed us to northern Dortmund above the railway station in a troubled area. And your prayers, our prayers have been answered. And they have a wonderful team of church leaders now, and they average 70 people in attendance. I've had baptisms with people of wonderful histories, and yes, the church looks like Dortmund, though they are not reaching their neighborhood as well, because it is largely North African Muslim, or the people I talked a couple of weeks ago there with came from Bosnia. So Dortmund is a reality, and we started from there, and then the next church plant was in Magdeburg in East Germany. And now you're saying, give us a glimpse of the church in Germany. And Magdeburg might just as well be the most secularized city on earth, or among the top 10. I will mention a few others, but Magdeburg used to be a Reformation city. Then the Catholic forces besieged it. History is saying some 46 people walked out alive in the 30-year Protestant Catholic War. So it has been part of human history, German history, church history. But currently, in the city of 240,000 people, like 250,000 people, research shows not even 1,000 people are attending anything with any regularity, anything religious, all religions combined. So Lutherans, Catholics, Muslims, and free churches, less than 1,000. So it's hard to imagine anything more secularized. So if you send kids to school, they basically for sure will not have another person they will meet in the school who knows Jesus. Or children who have believing parents. Like if it happens, that is the exception. So this is why we have a church planting team in Magdeburg. And by God's grace, and now with some experience, I think we came to ways in which this becomes scalable for other cities in Germany, the coaching system, but also how partnering churches, sending churches work together with us. But ultimately, of course, it's not a topic of oversight that there are no churches in East Germany. It's a spiritual reality. So when you step out from an existing church into that spiritual reality, it can be frosty and it can be hard. And we just assume attacks on everything that is worth keeping and having. So including family health and also team life. And so pray with us as we charge into Eastern Germany. We now have completed with our partners a church plant in Berlin, but now are working in Potsdam, which is just another city like Magdeburg. And so our church plants are all on a string along one autobahn, which in Germany connects people a bit better and faster than in Canada.
Especially when you're driving with Johann.
And if I'm not driving in our ministry van. But then we also go west to the city of Essen. And just to mention, what does a city like Essen look like? Well, about half the population are not citizens of Germany. And of those who are, many are first generation citizens of Germany. And the city, again, has all kinds of social issues. We call it social peace issues as well. So there's a lot of tension in the city. But the couple that started the church plant there, the starters, Heinrich and Darlene Lowen, they are praying and believing and hoping that in their ministry lifetime, they might see 10 church plants. Because we're seeing this as a hub church. And then with some plans, but within 5 years to maybe have offshoots. So it's not a small thing, but if you pray with us into church planting in Germany, even the little things, the little fruit we have seen, like the largest group church being a church of 70 attending right now in Dortmund. Our effort has already been noticed in Germany. We are now kind of multiplying as actually church planting, because this is the spiritual reality in Germany, that even this much of effort and fruit is noticeable. So we invite the Willingdon Church and your community. Just imagine that a few churches in a few cities of East Germany, with all believers combined, could actually fit into your weekend services. That is what we are addressing when we say church planting in Germany.
Okay, thank you. So those of you who are watching and listening, I've got two things that I would like you to take away. The first is this: it's historically it would be easy for us to assume that Europe is a very Christianized region, and in the past it has been. But what I want you to know, and what many of you do know, but this might be a new thought for you, is that actually Europe isn't Christian anymore, and it's been increasingly secularized, and so there is a huge need for mission engagement, for international missionaries to actually go to Europe, but also for um, like European-based church planting efforts. So that might be a new thought for some of you. I know that it's a new thought for some of you because I've had these conversations. But Germany and France and other nations in Europe desperately need the gospel. So the second thing that I want you to take away is this: just a simple encouragement to pray for Germany and for these church planting efforts that Johann has highlighted. So my challenge to you is pick a time each day, set your alarm on your phone, and spend a minute or two praying that the Lord would raise up workers, that the Lord would empower those workers that are already committed to church planting in Germany, and that many lives would be transformed, which would result in the transformation of cities and the nation. So thanks, Johann. There was my little sermon at the end. God bless you. And for those of you watching and listening, there will be one more episode with Johann next week. So keep your eyes peeled for that. God bless you.